So as a next step, what we can do is go ahead and install two packages. The first one being TailwindCSS, and then the second one being DaisyUI, which is component library built on top of TailwindCSS. So let's go ahead, open up TailwindCSS.com. Let's go to get started. Let's open up a terminal with client. Let me search for the Create React app, which is the version that we want. Okay, so we'll copy this command and paste it inside of our client. But before we do that, there's actually something important that I wanted to mention, and I think it applies to my current version of Create React app as well. So in order for the Tailwind CSS version 3 to work with your React app, you need to have the latest version of the Create React app package or the React scripts. I think for this project, I don't have the latest one, so the version 3 wouldn't work. Because before version 3 we used to do it with Krakow, but this one just doesn't need any Krakow with it. It just uses the Tailwind post CSS and auto prefixer, and that's about it. So we'll be updating our React scripts. It will be npm I react-scripts at latest, and that should install the latest version of the React scripts to it. Alright, so now that it is done, I'm going to copy this command and paste it in my client, and that should install Tailwind CSS, post CSS and auto prefixer, and this one is going to initialize the Tailwind CSS configuration file, then also the post CSS one. So we'll have two files, post CSS config and tailwind config.js. I'm just going to replace the content of tailwind config.js with what they have. Go to index.css and just paste these directives. Also make sure that your index.js has access to this index.css. And that is about it for Tailwind CSS. So let's go ahead and see if this is working. I'm going to restart the app, the client basically. And the H1 should lose its styling. Yep, it did. So in order to check if Tailwind is working, I'm going to make this text 4XL. Let's also add an underline, italic. Yep, it works. Alright, so let's get started with installing DaisyUI. It's a fairly simple process. We have to do npm I DaisyUI inside of client, and then go inside of the Tailwind config file, which is here, and inside of the plugins array just add DaisyUI with a require, and this should change the theme to dark. Perfect, because that's the default for DaisyUI. So that's how you install Tailwind CSS and DaisyUI to your React app, right? So let's build some UI.